I hoped that I would get pregnant, and then when my period came, I would know that I was not pregnant.
What's a lemon squeezer doing in my vagina? I've said it, okay? I've said that unmentionable word, I've mentioned it. So, how did you arrive at the title? What was your intention?
So the title is actually a chapter title, and it's also a line that I use in the text of the book. It was one of the last things to come to me because I was struggling with titling that particular chapter, and then I went through multiple options, but nothing was really working. Until I sat down one day and I asked myself, what is this really about? What is at the core of this? And that's when this line came to my head. What's a lemon squeezer doing in my vagina? So the minute that line came to my head, I thought that it would also work as the title of the book because it sort of captures not only the horror and the outrage of the insertion of that particular medical instrument, but it's also tongue in cheek.
So, what is the fallout? What have the reactions been?
See, there are books. There is the Vagina monologues, which everybody knows about. There is Naomi Wolf's memoir called Vagina. So there are books which put that word on the cover, but in the Indian context, I don't think there is anything like this. So I was, to be very honest, I was a little concerned about the kind of reaction that I would get. But yeah, I've been very pleasantly surprised. Quite a few women have told me privately and otherwise that they're going to pick up this book mostly for its title. So I guess it's win-win.
So, what was the most difficult part of the infertility treatment, and how did you cope?
Now, when you ask, looking back, I think there are two things that come to my mind, Archana. One is definitely the physically invasive procedures. I mean, at every stage, I hoped that I would get pregnant so that I wouldn't have to go through this again and again. The other thing that I want to talk about is every month I hoped that I would get pregnant, and then when my period came, I would know that I was not pregnant.
So, when you completed the first trimester of your pregnancy and called up close friends and relatives to share the good news, one relative asked you whether it was IVF and you denied it outright. You felt apprehended as if you were found out doing something dishonorable. Now, what do you think brings up this shame or sense of being defective?
I think, Archana, it has to be the conditioning and the messaging that we are exposed to right from our childhood. There is this template that is given to all of us in some way or the other, and we feel driven and pressurized to follow that template. I felt this big compulsion and this pressure to fit into that mold that had been created for me and to stick to that mold. And any deviation from that mold was for me a failure.
Now, did you have any idea what lay ahead? You have spoken about how you Googled constantly and you researched constantly, but even then, did you have any idea what lay ahead when you visited an infertility clinic for the first time?
To be very honest, I did not know what I was getting into. Even though I am prone to doing my research on Google for every small thing, I had not done too much research on infertility or assisted reproductive technologies. And I really went in, the first time that we walked into that fertility clinic, I really believed that it would be a quick. I thought I would have to take a pill or, it was a very minor problem. And the whole atmosphere of the clinic, the kind of questions that we were subject to, the probing, both physical, as well as mental and emotional. I think we walked out of that clinic that day with a deep sense of disgust.
When you were pregnant and advised bed rest, your close relatives were especially concerned because they believed this was an artificial pregnancy. Okay. Now, do you think we still have that discriminatory stance towards conception, and what do you think can be done to rectify this?
I read this in a blog by a doctor. Once the embryo is planted inside a woman's body, it's like any other embryo. I mean, it doesn't remember that its conception happened in a lab. And then, it either implants in the uterine lining or it doesn't. And, just takes, whatever course that it was meant to take. So there really is nothing particularly artificial about, this. So it is important that we talk and share and, dispel these kind of notions.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any videos by us.